A bunch of people online have been talking about this poll. Everyone's talking about this right here like it's new data, but I don't think that's true. I think this is back from that July data. It's at least 2 months old. I wonder if those numbers have gone up since then. I think it is old data. They should really add dates to this. Political polls. Yeah, this is from July 11th. I think we talked about it. I was going to talk about this as though it was new data, but it only occurred to me looking at it now that I've seen this spike before, but in a different form. In this chart, where we're looking at a spike in both the number of people who want an increased immigration and a number of people who want it kept at its present level, along with a precipitous drop from 55% to 30% of people who want it decreased. But wait, 30% want it decreased here, whereas here, oh, no. This is about whether you think immigration is a good thing or a bad thing, not whether you want it increased or decreased. Oh, here we go. Never mind. I scrolled down and I found it right here. There we go. Record high says immigration benefits nation. I really wish they would add dates to this data, you know? It would really help in keeping track of when this stuff comes out. That would be nice, in my opinion. We did talk about this a while ago. Still pretty crazy, huh? What do they call it? Thermostatic political backlash? People are always in favor of the opposite of whatever's being done. Even with Republicans, it went from 39% to 64% over the course of just a couple of months. Crazy. It probably has an upper limit of like 80 or 85%. Maybe. The whiplash is only going to get, like, why haven't basically all politicians been supporting immigration? Well, I mean, Republicans have been anti-immigration because it's a way of appealing to their racist majority. And Democrats have waned off immigration significantly because they're weak and they chase public opinion polls. But even then, like, public opinion has always remained more in favor of mass amnesty for undocumented immigrants than it has for mass deportation. Like, even during the worst of Biden's term, there were still lots of Americans who wanted some kind of pathway to citizenship for those people, you know, like pro-DACA types, basically. What's insane is that, like, normally we talk about Democrats being feckless and chasing public opinion polling, but in this case, they chased the lower rated public opinion poll. It's nonsensical, you know? Remember how Matthew Iglesias went from saying he wanted 1 billion Americans to arguing that there was some sense in mass deportation for undocumented immigrants? He started doing the, like, well, there's a good version of this, or maybe we should capitulate on this. In the interest of popularism, we have to chase this unpopular opinion. I don't understand it. I just don't. Spend too much time on Twitter and it broke their brains? Maybe. America should have more than 1 billion people? Yes, that is true. I don't know, man. Even Republicans. You guys see that business with the South Korea factory? They opened up, Hyundai's. It's Hyundai? Okay, sorry. Yeah, I don't often hear. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's a massive automobile factory in the United States, a huge investment in domestic vehicle production. And ICE went down there and arrested 300 South Korean workers. South Korean! These aren't Latin Americans. This is like another prosperous, at least economically, like, what? Jesus. They put them in literal chains.
South Korea is acting quick to get hundreds of citizens out of an ICE detention center. Just days after this historic raid, the foreign country is reportedly saying it made a deal with the U.S. They'll be sending a chartered plane to pick up the detainees and will fly them back home to South Korea. From the beginning, we knew the Koreans were not happy about this raid.
Really?
And they say they're working to prevent this from ever happening again by improving the visa system for travelers.
LG is already pulling a multi-billion-dollar investment in a new Louisiana plant. Multiple Japanese corps are discussing dropping new plants and multi-million-dollar investments. Yeah, like, as has been pointed out in chat, one of the reasons these South Koreans were here is because American manufacturing sucks. It's not just that it's underinvested in, we don't have good workers. The average manufacturing worker in China is more competent and better at using their tools than the average American worker, okay? Modern day factories are not as simple as they used to be. We're not welding car parts together, okay? This is high-skilled labor in a lot of cases. And we need well-trained workers. A lot of these people are over here to train. And the optics, like, the idea that ICE would... Listen, we all know that ICE is being used to appeal to a white nationalist Republican base in a war against an increase in the Latin population here. Like, it's not about immigration status. It's not about legality or citizenship. It is about white people and brown people. Okay? And everyone understands this. Republicans, to a large extent, understand this, even if they phrase it in terms that are legalistic, you know? Plenty of Democrats understand this. This is understood the world around. If you talk to a regular person in France or Spain or Turkey or whatever, just around the world, people understand this. It's not subtle. They get it. So to use this state apparatus, to use this kind of militant force against South Koreans, in my humble opinion, strategic misplay, you know? The whole point of divide and conquer is that you're supposed to keep, like, let the antagonism stay directed against the relatively poor Latin American countries. We're not exactly looking for billions of dollars of investment from Brazilian car companies or anything, you know? They're the group the antagonism is directed against. You don't also want to make, like, mortal racial enemies of Japan and South Korea. Like, we've already done enough with China. But, like, yeah, I don't know. South Korea is really pissed about this, by the way. Like, really, really, really pissed. Like, okay, like, seriously, imagine if 300 American manufacturing workers were sent over to Nigeria to help establish, like, a big investment from an American company in a Nigerian factory. And those 300 were arrested in, like, an obviously racially motivated state crackdown in which they were on video led away in literal chains and held in a federal detention camp that the American government then had to bust them out of. Yeah, we'd be deploying a carrier strike team to the nearest body of water.
Our government will remain vigilant.
U.S. immigration officials arrested 475 illegal immigrants at this mega site Thursday. They were searched, shackled, and bussed off the
literal chains.
And bussed off the property. The raid happening at a construction site for an EV battery factory, which,
by the way, and I have to ask, guys, on what basis is it being claimed that these workers are illegal?
is a joint project for Hyundai and LG Energy Solution. And Homeland Security says it was all part of a months-long investigation.
475 were illegally present in the United States or in violation of their presence in the United States.
He says that includes people who crossed the border illegally.
Okay, but like, how? In what way? This New York Times I actually don't know about this. This New York Times article came out 1 hour ago. What do we know about the Hyundai LG plant immigration raid in Georgia? Arrested nearly 500 workers, most of them South Korean citizens. Electric battery plant. Stirred tensions with the South Korean government. U.S. immigration authorities said the detained employees, many of them hired by subcontractors to help finish the plant's construction, were working or living in the United States illegally. Okay, so here's the problem with that, okay? I'm sure some of the people here were undocumented immigrants. For instance, people hired by subcontractors to work on construction, okay, yeah, maybe there were, I could understand maybe there's some people from Venezuela or Mexico. It's the United States. That happens pretty often. But the South Koreans? Do we really think that Hyundai would just send over a horde of undocumented South Koreans to do manufacturing training? Like, that's their plan? Like, Hyundai was like, don't worry about it, guys. This will go over fine. Well, seriously, what happened here? Every single South Korean worker detained by ICE has been confirmed as having valid work visas, by the way. So this is just another example of journalist, like a complete lack of... No, sorry, I was about to say journalistic integrity. Just straight up lying when Fox 4 Dallas Fort Worth claims that it's that they were illegal. They're just repeating what ICE said. Just making sure. Immigration officials descended on the plant on Thursday, arresting hundreds who were allegedly living or working in the United States illegally, product of a months-long investigation. Okay, so what's the reality? The raid swept up 475 people, most of them South Korean citizens. No Hyundai employees were arrested, the car maker said. LG Energy Solutions said 47 of its employees were detained. The majority of the arrested South Korean workers were not direct employees of Hyundai or LG, but were subcontractors. Okay, not direct employees. According to industry officials familiar with the project. Well then, why were they all South Korean then? Like, if there's, it's not like if you're subcontracting for construction and you want to build something in what state is this? Georgia. You're going to jump to a South Korean subcontracting firm immediately, you know? The LG employees arrested were helping oversee the factory's construction and had arrived in the United States with visas or under a visa waiver program. It's not clear how many of those detained by ICE last week were building the plant, how many workers were brought in to install and calibrate specialized equipment or train the local workforce. Stephen Trank, a special agent in charge of Homeland Security investigations for Georgia, said during a news conference that some U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents were also detained in the raid. I'm noticing that nobody here, or in this article, we are not seeing, like, any evidence to anyone being illegal. Like, nothing's being confirmed. We're just reporting the alleged ICE statements. Led to a emergency meeting from South Korean government officials. So we have no confirmations at all. This is the woman that made the false ICE claim. What do you mean false ICE claim? This is just a lady. What are we talking about? American woman running for Congress claims responsibility for Hyundai site ICE raid. This seems uncredible.
So there were 452 illegals apprehended at the Hyundai mega plant construction site yesterday near Savannah. And I was the one that reported the information that I had to ICE. But it goes beyond just someone working illegally. Let me explain to you. These people are working for slave wages. Some are not getting paid. Some are being trafficked.
How would you know that as a random civilian, out of curiosity? Whatever. It's totally uncredible. Okay, so nobody has any, like, evidence to the perceived legality or illegality of these workers? All we have right now is, like, word from ICE. Anyway, I encourage the Trump administration to continue engaging in this behavior. I think that would be really, really, really good of them. The faster we isolate ourselves from the international community, the better. South Korea wants workers detained in immigration raid to be able to re-enter the United States. That's funny. All of them? Even the subcontractors? I need to find out more about this. Genuinely. I don't know. I don't know. You should never, ever, ever trust anything that ICE has to say under any circumstances. But I'm so curious.
The president said that these tariffs are going to spark a manufacturing renaissance, he called it. But since he announced them in April, the U.S. has actually lost 42,000 manufacturing jobs. Are these numbers proof that the tariffs are failing to produce the manufacturing jobs that President Trump promised?
Again, Kristen, it's been a couple of months, and with the manufacturing sector, as you know, we can't snap our fingers and have factories built. So what we are seeing is a record amount of investment intentions. We've seen a capex boom in the first half of the year, and I think that was actually held back. The One Big Beautiful Bill, which has full expensing for factories and equipment, was passed on July 4th. Many companies were holding back then, so we are going to see...
Man is flop sweating right now. He's always like that.
Construction jobs, and we're going to see manufacturing jobs.
But, Mr. Secretary, the economy did add nearly 500,000 manufacturing jobs under former President Biden. In this case, since April, again, you're actually losing manufacturing jobs. Is that problematic for your policy?
Well, a couple of things, Chris. We're going to get the revisions for last year next week, and there may be as big as an 800,000 job downward revision. Again, this would be the second downward revision.
Guys, trust me, the next revision to the jobs report will make us look good. I know that so far, every time data has come out or been revised, it's made us look worse and worse and worse. But trust me, the next data revision, I mean, now that the Bureau of Labor Statistics is being, like, weaponized and their numbers are compromised, maybe that's going to be true.
So I'm not sure what these people who collect the data have been doing. It's good. We need good data. Secondly, what we are seeing is the jobs that are being created are going to either native-born or legal Americans. Most of the jobs created under the Biden administration, they went to illegal aliens.
Well, and I think that there would be a lot of debate over the fact that they went to illegal aliens. But
well, because it's a lie. Like, yeah, because it's a lie. But yeah, under Biden, actually, people had no jobs. Let me just finish this video. I don't know.
Send money home to their country. They give money to their handler. They have hardly anything left. They live in homes 5 families deep, have no quality of life. It's modern day slavery. So if you think that ICE is just going in and ripping people out of their jobs, these
liberal fascism. We have white nationalist brown shirt raid crackdowns, but we're doing it out of the kindness of our hearts for those poor people affected. We want to put racial minorities in chains, But we're actually doing it because we feel super, super bad for how they're being victimized by the Hyundai plant that's employed them, you know? Liberal fascism, man. They don't have the balls to come out and seek Heil. I mean, some of them did. Elon was a visionary. Elon was braver than a lot of these people.
Hardworking people that want a better life. Well, guess what? Politicians have really screwed these people because when they came here, they thought they were, hey, the border's open, we're coming in, we're going to get the 5-star treatment, and we can go to the big Walmart, and we can live in a 5-star hotel, and that's
What the f*** are you talking about, lady?
just not how it is. It's very bad conditions, very inhumane, and the Biden administration started a humanitarian crisis. So y'all can't just look at it like they're ripping good people off the job. They're probably saving their lives.
We do not deserve a democracy. She made the video after it came out. She was the one who reported the workers. Who knows if she's actually responsible? All we know for sure is that ICE is desperately trying to meet a quota. Months of investigation. Yeah, right. They probably raided the place after like 2 days. Anyway, this remains a pretty big deal in South Korea. Hopefully it remains a big deal. Yeah. Japan and South Korea about to unite in anti-white racism. I think Japan and South Korea have their own problems when it comes to like their racial dynamics. I don't really think that this is their first time dipping their toes in that pool. I mean, they did kind of like meet for trade talks with China, and historically they have been very xenophobic. So, maybe there's a bright future for all of us.